if you are not taxed, you're never going to grow. Okay, so you need a little bit of stress. Now, of course, it's not like the worrying, overarching fear of anything bad that's going to happen like that. Okay, stress. We're talking physical stress, not emotional stress or anything like that. The good stress that's out there, because not all stress is bad. Okay, let's just go ahead and dispel that for a moment. In fact, research continues to support the idea that having certain kinds of mild stress can be beneficial to your health and well-being in a myriad of complex ways. The most well-known example is lifting heavy weights, something that I know extensively, something that I have lived and preached and even went to school in order to perfect my craft on. That, my friends, is a type of stress after all. Not only does your body repair the micro tears from the trauma of the exercise, it builds those muscles, it builds them back better. And that's the only time I'm going to unironically say that. Problem with stress is when it is done for too long, or that the stressor becomes chronic. Yeah, that's not good either. Chronic is never good. For example, if you do serious weightlifting without proper recovery, or if you just continue, I guess that's kind of what they'd mean as well. And again, I'll just elaborate on that. Okay, your performance will quickly deteriorate and overtraining will suppress your immune system. Yeah, of course, the people who just go hard every single day, just absolutely drop dead effort in the gym, it's applause worthy. That's what I meant. Okay, to see that kind of effort put forward, but put over the long term. Okay, either you got to scale it back with either intensity or time, or maybe even a little bit both if you're soft after all. But you have to eventually work up to that level. Like when I was first breaking out, first training when I was 16 years old, it was probably about 20 minutes of cardio, maybe at a specific heart rate. Wasn't really monitoring heart rate back in the cut, but what I was more focused on, or at least the person who was guiding me through the ropes, walking me through initial little programs out there, we were focusing on one body part at a time. Okay, started out, what was the first thing? I think legs was the first thing that I did. The very first thing, it was a hack squat machine. Okay, using machines first and foremost. God, that takes me back. Wow, I haven't really thought about this in a long time, but no, being on the hack squat machine, okay, putting plates on the side, and then just trying to do base levels of interpretation, see where you're at. Okay, I remember one of the first things that we did was also dumbbell curls as well, because we were just doing an overall just kind of assessment to see where I was at. I could do a 20-pound dumbbell curl with my right arm, but about 15 with the left. Horrible imbalance, but since that point, I've completely minimized any imbalances that exist, and then definitely got far beyond the 20-pound dumbbell weights on each side. Unless, of course, you know what, hey, I want to throw a 20-pound dumbbell up in the air and then just go to complete exhaustion. That's one type of advanced sort of training. And if you're going to be going to complete exhaustion, you don't want to be doing that day after day after day, especially if it's going to be dumbbell curls, something as excruciating as that. And as overall useless as, let's be completely honest, training your biceps, there's no real functional purpose to that. And that's why you see swimmers, okay, unless they just go out there and purposefully train their biceps. There's a reason they're referred to as show muscles and very little outside of that. That's why whenever somebody's cartooning or putting a caricature of a strongman, that's why they show the bicep, okay? Because it just is a illustration of strength as opposed to functional strength. You mostly just use your legs, your back, and your chest whenever you're training. Or I'm sorry, whenever you're properly lifting or trying to use some of your actual strength. But regardless, let's just go back to this for a moment. What they're talking about when it comes to overworking, okay, quickly deteriorating, that's why you need to give a rest period between doing the muscle groups. That's why some people will run a weight training program by doing different types of lifts, a push, a pull split when it comes to their exercise, or just doing individual body parts, which is more of a bodybuilder split, or upper lower. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do, but you need those days in between. So if you're exercising every single day, like you do one body part one day a week, or you'll do your push exercises, which would include triceps, chest, quadriceps, if you want to do some legs in there. Or I've seen some people do push pull legs. You can do that as well if you want to have a 6-day split. Just always make sure that whenever you're doing your weightlifting exercises or whatever routine you want to settle on, it needs to be balanced. Something else that people forget as well, but that's another thing for another video at another time. Anyways, have those rest periods integrated in there. That doesn't mean completely shutting down, and don't be worrying about overtraining, because more likely than not, yeah, unless you start off, it's like, nope, I'm going hard 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not a darn person is going to stop me. Nobody's really beginning with that, but that's where you're going to end up overtraining. You'll eventually start to progressively overload your amount of work that you're putting into your exercise routine, and you'll never really risk overtraining as long as you're properly fueling yourself and resting outside of your exercise time. Anyways, likewise, you'll only try to increase the amount of weight you lift too quickly. Yeah, tendons, ligaments do not have time to adapt, and you risk serious injury. Yeah. Or then you just end up looking like a dolt because you're just doing little baby contractions, and you've seen a whole bunch of gym fail videos because of that. The key is the dose. Of course, it's always the dose. You want the stressor to be relatively mild with plenty of time to recover between episodes. In the rest of the article, 9 different examples for hormetic effect of everyday activities. So sun exposure. Just remember, as we go through all 9 of these, just think about the alternate of this. So you do need sun exposure. Of course, you need to get the natural way that your body creates and manifests vitamin D. You can also supplement on top of that if you live in inclement climate areas like I do in northern Alberta, where we're heading into that time of the year where we're only going to experience, if it's not blisteringly cold outside, 6 hours of daylight, and that's of course just putting on top if it's not snowing, and then you can actually get direct access to the sun. It's still important to get outside there and touch grass or snow or ice on the sidewalk because nobody likes to clean their sidewalks. Ugh. Anyways, but no. Still. Think about the flip reverse of that. You need the vitamin D, but do you want the melanoma if you're going to be laying and lounging out there all day long? Yeah, I don't really think so. Sunlight is often given a bad rap. By who? Basement-dwelling cave trolls? But in fact, deficiency in vitamin D, most of which we get from the sun, is a major worldwide health problem. Yeah, like 80% of people are deficient. Intermittent fasting. Okay, what's the downside of this? Okay, there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that occasional food deprivation between 12 to 24 hours at a time provides a host of metabolic benefits. The stress, or the mild stress of being hungry, is good for us in a way of chronic starvation clearly isn't. As an added bonus, breaking a fast can be even a simplest meal taste like a world-class dining experience. Yeah, of course, you don't want to just be giving up on food, except for there's that, one example of a guy who lived on no food for years at a time except for a daily vitamin. It was totally weird, by the way. And again, I'd like to see receipts on that, but intermittent fasting, restricting eating on a daily basis, there's nothing wrong with that. Just having a dedicated eating window. It's mostly used for caloric restriction, okay? Just give people functional guidelines to adhere around. But you can also extrapolate on fasting as well. Do a day-long fast, okay? Do like a 48-hour fast where you just have one dedicated day every other week, once a week, whatever you want to do on top of that. Or some people also do like a 3-day fast, 7-day fast once a year, or a 3-day fast once every quarter, something like that. But if you get used to that, then your body starts to adhere and it starts to curate itself in order to function on that reduced caloric deficit. So by doing that too often, you kind of negate all of the benefits that you get off the back of that fasting. All right, so saunas. What's the downside of repeated sauna use? I'm just wondering, unless you're just going to be sitting in there for like 30 minutes at a time, then that could be a problem. There's now compelling evidence that regular sauna increases human lifespan. Once again, the hermetic effect explains how the body is able to adapt to short, frequent bouts of intense heat, and in fact, overcompensate by growing stronger to exposure is gradually intensified. Yeah, I guess you could end up unironically cooking yourself if you're in there for too long. Oh, okay. Cold showers. Oh, yes, exactly. Yes, just eat the bugs, live in the pod, live in the great jumpsuits. No. Cold showers are actually good because it'll help with inflammation as well. I know it's being spun right now by some more crazy conservative outlets that, oh no, it's a part of the New World Order agenda where they don't want you to have heated water. And it's like, no, it's nothing of that, okay? Legitimate cold showers or just a cold rinse to begin and end your shower routine, that can definitely help, okay? Heat and cold exposure, you can do that on a daily basis whenever you're clean yourself. Another acute stressor that can turn out to be good for us is cold exposure. Various types of cold water therapies can be shown to reduce muscle soreness and lower inflammation throughout the body. After surprisingly, many people report a similar feeling to runner's high after spending at least 5 to 10 minutes in cold water. Okay, I guess. I haven't experienced it myself, and I regularly participate in cold showers. Intense exercise. You're just a pansy if you don't want to do that on a consistent basis. We know that exercise produces free radicals, raises our blood pressure, and causes oxidative stress. So why are we still advised to do it for our health? The simple answer is, of course, the hormetic effect. Each of these stress indicators is temporarily raised during the course of intense exercise, but our body, in an effort to maintain homeostasis, adapts in such a way that makes us fitter and more metabolically flexible for the future. But if you do it over and over again, you risk injury because of repeated use injuries or stressors on the body or not proper focus, blah, blah, blah. All that other stuff. Being social. Don't. Learning new... No, I'm joking. For many people, being social with strangers and more vulnerable in existing relationships is a challenge. Yes, just like exercise. Physical exercise is something that you need to repeatedly do in order to get better at. Conversing... expounding upon your social abilities is just as important, okay? I hate to cite that hack movie that I despise, the 40-year-old virgin. If you don't use it, you will lose it. That is just as applicable when it comes to gains in the gym as it does with communication ability. Studies have shown, however, that few short-term stress put ourselves out there and help to build up a support network and then acts as a protective buffer against chronic stress, which is the kind of stress we really need to worry about. Yeah, that's adorable, wonderful, fantastic. Learning new things because of the plasticity of the human brain. It has the ability to adapt and change as a result of novel experiences. Research shows that doing mentally challenging activities such as pursuing more education is linked to reduced chance of developing dementia. But again, it's kind of like that whole anti-success hustler people, okay? The ones that are telling you, there's those, I forget like specific examples of those guys that, just go out there and chase excellence, okay? Just go out there and grind 20 hours a day. You can sleep when you're dead. Those type of guys, okay? You can only do that for so long, and I'm not against, okay? If you're driven for something and you want to work that hard, by all means. Hell, I'll put in like a 18 or 20-hour day just on a whim because I'm really excited about the content that I'm talking about, and today might end up being one of those days when the time that I'm done chopping everything up, and you know what? Hey, that's my decision in life, ultimately. But if you learn too many things at a surface level, then you're just a surface level person, okay? I would recommend just drilling down on certain things that you want to get good at, and then once you gain a certain level of mastery of that, then start to branch off from there, okay? Living with less, yeah, no, of course. Consumerism is a mindset driven primarily by comfort and convenience. Of course, bored people do stupid things. Whenever a problem arises, such as boredom, hard work, or discomfort of any kind, the consumerist solution is to buy another widget or add another subscription to make life easier. But if it was all this easy living was actually making life harder in the long run. Yeah, and again, it just kind of piggybacks off the previous point of learning new things, okay, not being too invested in too many things, okay. There's research to support the thesis, or at least the idea, that the human brain is only optimized to make so many decisions throughout a day. That's why some of the most successful people have a fairly drab wardrobe. Okay, and that they put out their clothes the night before, so it's just an immediate thing where they can just wake up in the morning, put on what they have, and then just go about their day, where they still have the mental capability and the mental dexterity in order to make some split moment decisions, that they aren't so mentally exhausted on just rudimentary things that are out there. So you can take that mind frame, that mindset, and then apply it to other things as well. That's what you'd have for a simpler existence. Not to a point. Or, of course, you've got a cot or maybe just a blanket and a floor. Okay, that might be going a little bit too extreme, even though sleeping on the floor every once in a while is definitely not bad for you. It also helps you focus on getting really, really good at certain things that you might find important. And then finally, facing your fears. Yeah, I don't see what's wrong with that, okay? More often than not, people just drum up more scenarios in their head that might potentially be a problem than they're actually a problem. So go out there and face your fears, because what's the downside? Oh, what, she's going to say no? Oh my gosh, your life is over. Oh my God, your boss might tell you no if you want a raise. Oh, you just might end up curating your skills and then end up just catapulting to a better job. Oh my gosh, you might end up saying something that, you know what, the person receiving the message might not like, but somebody who might overhear it might end up appreciating your courage. Oh no, you're fearful of something. Just do it. So 9 stresses that you could use more of in your life, in moderation, of course. Facing your fears, living with less, learning new things, being social, intense exercise, cold showers, saunas, intermittent fasting, and do it all outside with sun exposure. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.